I'm having a hard time holding all of them. Oh my God, why is this so hard? These like beautify everything. I'm really a hag. We have, did I already say we've had ours for 7 years? Welcome back to Plants Not Plastic. I'm Nikita. Do I say? Yes, I'm gonna still say my same thing. Welcome back to Plants Not Plastic. I'm Nikita, and I typically make recipes that are delicious, inexpensive, simple, and healthy. I mentioned in a previous video that I practice zero waste minimalism, so today I would like to show you some easy zero waste kitchen swaps to get rid of plastic and reduce waste in the kitchen. As a disclaimer before I start, I am not telling you to go out and buy more stuff. One of the biggest things about zero waste is using what you have to its useful life. So this video is for the next time that you make a purchase, or if there are people who are actively looking to replace something in their kitchen. I also just want to show you what a zero waste kitchen looks like. I have been working on mine for 5 years, so it has taken me a pretty long time to get to the point that I'm at right now. None of the products in this video are sponsored yet, but I will include all the information in the description below. The first thing I would recommend is cloth towels and napkins, which can replace paper towels and paper napkins. We use them for drying our hands, wiping down counters, cleaning up spills, and even for washing our dishes. We don't currently have a dish drying rack, so we'll just put them out on the counter and use them, replacing them a couple times a week. Buying a set will cost you between like $20 and $60 depending on what you get. You can also make them yourself from like old towels or old t-shirts, or even buy them secondhand. We have had ours for 7 years, and they have lasted us all that time and will last us for years to come. Next is wood and plant fiber dish brushes. These can replace plastic bristle brushes, sponges, and Brillo pads. So we have two different types that we use. The first is a Tampico fiber brush. Tampico is a medium to soft bristle that actually absorbs water, so it's really great for washing dishes. We have it in a little handheld as well as a bottle brush. The other is either Palmyra or Union fiber. Union is just a combination of Tampico and Palmyra. So Palmyra is actually typically used for grill brushes. So it works great as a pot scrubber and can replace, like I said, Brillo pads or steel wool. We do have a really old piece of steel wool that we use sometimes if we burn something while we're cooking, but we've had this one for years and use it very rarely. Next is a dish soap bar. This can replace liquid dish soap that would come in a plastic bottle. You can do like DIY liquids dish soap, but I've tried that before and it seems like it can be a little bit difficult. This is a no fuss option for being able to swap out your dish soap for something that's zero waste. I am all about simplicity when it comes to zero waste. There is a lot of DIY in the zero waste community, but I always go for options that simplify things because zero waste can be kind of difficult sometimes when you're trying to find the exact right thing to swap something out. It's really easy to use. We just take one of our brushes and rub it along the top after we've gotten it wet. It's just as effective as liquid dish soap. It's 22 ounces. It was $23. We've only used up about half of it, and it's taken us over 5 months to get to that point. And we wash dishes all the time because we're cooking so much from home. It will fall apart over time, but what we do when we get toward the end is we take the pieces and put them into a little container, and then just use the brush in there to make sure that we use up all of it before we move on to a new block. Next is a wood cutting board. We have two, one of which we use for most of our food prep, but because there can be some pretty strong flavors like onion and garlic, we have another one that we use for fruit. I have never personally liked the idea of plastic cutting boards because I just imagine that as you're cutting, you're getting little pieces of plastic in your food. Not only is plastic non-biodegradable, but the general consensus now is that wood is actually more antibacterial than plastic. The one I'm linking below isn't the one that we have, but it is pretty close to what I would be looking for if I was going to replace my cutting board. In general, you want to look for a hardwood like acacia, teak, or maple that is sustainably harvested. I'll also just say, don't buy a glass cutting board because it will ruin your knives. Next is wood and stainless steel kitchen utensils. Wood can be composted, and stainless steel can actually be recycled endlessly, which means that it doesn't lose its durability each time that it's recycled. Something like plastic, if you start with a hard plastic, can be downcycled to a softer plastic, but it will eventually reach a point until it's not recyclable anymore. Where stainless steel can be melted down and recycled over and over and over again without losing any of its durability. Next is reusable glass containers, and this is actually a pretty big category. In the zero waste community, I feel like mason jars are the most common, kind of like iconic reusable glass jar, but they can really be all different shapes and sizes. They do not have to be mason jars. One of the easiest places to start is to actually reuse glass food storage containers. This one we just finished and rinsed out, and it's really great to be able to start putting stuff in your pantry. We also have a variety of both Pyrex and Anchor food storage with lids. If you're gonna buy these, you can buy them secondhand from places like Craigslist or Goodwill. You can also find mason jars at art supply stores or even Home Goods. I would recommend tackling this category in pieces, really starting with replacing what you absolutely have to when it comes to your food storage, and then just building over time based on what your needs are. So that we started with a pretty small variety of Pyrex, and then we've expanded into having like big sizes for Anchor so that we can put rice into it. This is 11 cups, so it's really great for being able to store like bulk recipes or rice that you pre-make for the week. And then we typically use like big mason jars like this for storing rice, medium-sized ones like this for sugar. They'll last you for a really long time. So for example, this 32-ounce mason jar is about $4 to $5. This is a 64-ounce mason jar that's like 10 to 12 bucks. If you're thrifting though, and you go to somewhere like Goodwill, you'll probably find them for much cheaper. So really, like I said, just over time, you'll find what works for you, but you definitely don't have to go out and buy all of this all at once. Glass will last forever though, so it'll definitely pay for itself over time, and you'll be able to use the storage for years. I want to touch on silicone really quickly because it's become pretty popular for a lot of kitchen items like kitchen utensils, food storage, like things like this stasher bag, pot holders, pot handles, other cooking utensils like steamers, measuring cups, tea infusers. So while silicone is arguably better than plastic, it doesn't have an endless life cycle. It can be pretty hard to recycle. You typically have to have like a special facility in order to recycle it, which means that a lot of silicone ends up in landfills. If you're going to go with silicone, then you definitely want to make sure that it's food grade. These stasher bags are, along with, I'm sure, a lot of other products on the market, but the way that you would test that is you actually stretch out a little bit of the silicone, and if there's no white, that means that it's food grade. Next is loose leaf tea and infusers. So this can replace bagged teas. When tea bags are put into water, they release millions of microplastics into the tea that you're drinking. A great option is to swap out tea bags for a loose leaf tea and a steeper like this. Some people use the little balls that are on a chain, but because those have more moving parts, they can fall apart faster. There are some tea bags that are compostable, but you would have to do the research beforehand to make sure that you were getting one that was fully compostable, because a lot of them will say that they're biodegradable, but they actually don't break down if they go into a composting system. I have some loose leaf tea right now, but I'm actually looking for a new company to buy from. Arbor Teas is supposed to be really great because they are organic, fair trade, sustainable, and they have a compostable packaging, so I want to try them as soon as I run out. Next is some kind of a composting system. So what we have right now is we have this stainless steel bowl that we leave out on the counter to put like food scraps into when we're doing food prep. And then we have a large plastic sealable tub in our fridge that we'll transfer this to during the week. We take it out once a week and actually put it into our neighboring complex's green bin because we don't actually have recycling or composting at our complex right now. If you have a backyard, you can do backyard composting, worm composting, or something called bokashi, which we have done in the past, and I can maybe go into detail in another video. If you don't have a backyard and you are going to be emptying your kitchen waste into a green bin, I would definitely say that you should check with your local municipality to make sure that you're not putting anything into the green bin that isn't allowed. LA, for example, is pretty strict and doesn't accept anything that is a prepared food. So we can only put food scraps in as we're cooking. That's actually a great lead-in into my last kind of bonus tip for reducing waste in the kitchen. And that is just generally to have less food waste. For us especially, because we can't put cooked foods into a green bin in LA, we don't want to end up having to put things into the trash. The best way to do that is to actually plan out your meals so that you're only buying what you need and being able to use it right away rather than having it go bad. It also will have less food in your fridge, which makes it easier to see everything and use it up before it goes bad. Having emergency food on hand is definitely important, especially in times like we've recently experienced. But those are typically pantry items like dry and canned goods, which won't go bad as quickly and you can eat and replace before they go bad. So that's it for today. If you like this video, please do subscribe and click the bell to get notifications when I put out new content. You can also subscribe to my website at PlantsNotPlastic.com, as well as follow me on social media. All that information is detailed below in the description. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.